报名要快，详情请洽公视官网。
您现在收看的是公共电视，支持属于大家的电视台，看见更好的未来。
I felt scared. And even telling you this now, my hands are cold and sweaty. And every time I tell people what happened, I can feel myself going back into that period. I went into the boardroom, a few minutes to 9, and everyone was there. They were talking, nervously, louder than normal, and no one would make eye contact with me. The only person who wasn't in the room was Kikukawa. I was feeling, I'm not going to sit here waiting for my execution, indefinitely. So I started looking at my watch in an exaggerated manner. And Mori looked over to me, and he could see I was getting agitated, and said to me, Michael, it must have been very hard for you yesterday in Tohoku, visiting the area where the tsunami struck. I felt this overwhelming sense of revulsion and disgust at the man. He knew what was going to happen, and he would choose that subject to humor me, to distract me. I said, Mori, I dropped the san, the term of respect. Mori, stop it, stop playing with me. I know what you're going to do, get on with it. And he was shocked and scuttled off to go and get his master, who finally turned up at around 7 minutes past 9. And he read out the resolution, the first resolution, saying that Woodford will be stripped of his presidency, his CEO status, and as a representative director. And before he had finished, all the directors around the table put their hands up and physically, pushing to the sky. And it reminded me of children in a classroom. And I was watching this behavior of these men, some of them I'd known for 30 years, acting like that. And in Japan, hardly anyone gets fired. Not least, you wouldn't fire the president of a company. It's almost unheard of. Why were they acting like that? They know that I'm going to not just take this. So what were they scared of? Something more scary than me going public.
And let's talk about Olympus. It's a company best known for high-quality cameras. Well, it is facing a potential scandal. The company fired its president and CEO, Michael Woodford, after he sent a letter to the company's chairman urging the chairman to resign over, quote, serious governance concerns.
And CEO Michael Woodford was sacked after he questioned deals that he said covered up huge losses.
They wrecked the company by siphoning off huge amounts of money on all this nonsense.
隠し通そうとしたんです。で、首を切れば、もう沈みそうな船が沈まないで済むと、そう思ったんでしょうね。
If Kikukawa believes thoroughly he is personally innocent and was only doing right by the company, then I think that says something very scary about Japan, or certainly about corporate Japan.
日本人ってなんでこんなに卑怯になってしまったのか。
当局、メディア、財界などの枠組みが壊れていると改めて痛感しました。
The Japanese people toiled to build a new nation under MacArthur's firm hand. The Japan of tomorrow is being molded in the streets of Tokyo today.
2009年の8月に、尾瀬に出かけたんですね。でその一緒に出かけていった友人っていうのがオリンパスの社員だった。その友人が尾瀬で写真を撮りながら「うちの会社バカなことやってるんだ」っていうふうなことをポツッと話し始めて、ほとんど価値のない会社を1社あたり300億円も出して買ってるんだとっていうような話を聞いて、それが全ての始まりだったんですけれどもね。国内3社っていうことで見るとほとんど価値がなかった。買収した時点でオリンパスにはグループ会社が160社を確か超えてたんです。でそうした160社を超える会社の中にですね、ちっちゃな会社3つ紛れ込ませて、でしかもその3つの会社の名前も有価証券報告書の中にほとんど出てこないということになると、もう探しようがほとんどない。ジャイラスっていうイギリスの会社、こちらについては、国内3社ほどではなかったんですけれども、それでもかなり割高な買い物。
正直言って我々の雑誌以外にも、持ち込んでみたけど、そのオリンパスについてのその先入観等もあって、等っていうのはその利害関係もあるとですね、広告が入ってるとかそういうのもあって、掲載に踏み切れないと、いう事情を要するに彼がまず聞いて、それでだったらね、あなたの持ってる材料を見せてくれないかと。自分の中での経験と、それから第六感と、それからついつま合うか合わないかということのその3つぐらいから考えて、これはいけるというふうに思います。したがってこれは長期戦になると思ってたんですよ。これぐらいの大きなスキャンダルになると1年かかるかなとそんなに急には動かないだろうと。だから事件化するのも相当そのね、検察も証券監視委員会もなかなかそんな簡単に動かない。
I was called over for a meeting with Kikukawa. I suspected he may be telling me who was going to be the next president. I didn't anticipate it would be me, so I arrived at his office in the afternoon and went through a few pleasantries, and almost immediately he just said, Michael, I haven't been able to change this company. I think from what you've done in Europe and America and elsewhere, you could, and I'd like you to be the next president. I just said yes, and because I wanted to change the company. I wanted to do that.
I met Michael for the first time just after he was appointed. It was a pretty obvious story for us to do. British newspaper, British CEO in Japan. So I interviewed him at the office. Well, the record of the Gaijin CEO in Japan is pretty mixed anyway. Carlos Ghosn has probably been the most successful. Renault became a major shareholder of Nissan. He didn't need to build a power base. Howard Stringer, less successful. He was brought over from America, didn't have the same kind of power base, and he struggled. With Michael, was kind of a hybrid of the two. He'd been in the company a long time, so I thought that would give him some credibility.
オリンパスという会社はやっぱりリストラが必要だったんですよね。ああいう人に、外国人でしかもストレートの人におそらくリストラをやらせて、日本人だとどうしてもウェットなんでね、リストラできない。で要するにお互いに一心伝心になっちゃうからズバッと切れないものを外国人だと切りやすいっていうことで選んだんじゃないでしょうかね。
I think a number of managers, if they were in that position and had the freedom to realize the potential of the medical business, 70% market share, wonderful intellectual property, Olympus should be not just a good medical company, it should be a company which could take on the Johnson & Johnsons and the Covidians, big American healthcare companies and German healthcare companies, and really use the endoscope business as a platform to show Japan can be an absolute leader in healthcare equipment.
I think the fact that he couldn't speak Japanese was definitely contributed to his feeling of isolation. And if he could speak Japanese, he might have got a better sense of what was waiting for him.
I didn't, when I was made president, anticipate that Kikukawa would retain the CEO position or create the CEO position. And if you run a company, you have to have clear leadership. And what he did, he created two heads. I was the president, and then he had this contradiction. He was the CEO. I was in Hamburg and I received an email from a Japanese friend who's also a director of a leading Nikkei company. He wrote to me and said, have you seen this? And I didn't know what Factor was. Never heard of it. I was returning to Japan the following week, so I thought I would get to understand it properly, get a full translation. I came back with an anticipation that I would walk into a boardroom with a great tension and atmosphere. What was shocking to me was everything was very normal and mundane, and people were very friendly. How was your visit in Europe, Michael? And I was disorientated to the extent that the Factor article must be something, meaningless. Blacker in mood as he went through it. Monday, the office was normality itself. Mundane, no one saying anything. That afternoon, I was so anxious. I asked two colleagues who I trusted to come to my office, Japanese colleagues, showed them the Factor article, and both of them told me that they had been instructed by Kikukawa not to tell Mr. Woodford. I was worried, and after hearing that, I was even more worried. Why would the chairman of the company be telling my own staff not to discuss things with me? himself and Mori. There was a room with a very large boardroom, so there was a table between us. I'll never forget because he'd organised a very large and elaborate plate of sushi, and where I sat there was a tuna sandwich, which everyone knew I loved sushi, so it may be something to say that's your position in the food chain, Michael. You're here and we're here. Don't forget it. The first thing really was, why didn't I know? And Kikukawa answered. I gave the instruction that this article shouldn't be brought to your attention or discussed with you because you're the president, because you're too busy. You have enough to worry about. And I challenged him. I said, I've just been to New York and Boston and London and Paris to see our overseas investors and potential investors, and I interface with the Japanese shareholders. I'm the president. People are likely to raise this type of question with me. Why? He just left it. And then I asked him, were the allegations true? And he said some of them. Mori, conversely, was an intelligent man, quieter. I knew he would know everything. I said to Kikukawa, can I have a private meeting with Mr. Mori because I need to understand? And he reluctantly agreed. I challenged and pushed him for answers. The gyrus payment of 700 mils. He started to explain that this was to do with A preference shares. And I said, well, I don't understand. We bought the company outright. There was no minority interest. And he just stopped talking. So I tried to lighten the mood slightly and moved on to the acquisition of these three companies. A mail order face cream company? I mean, come on, what are we going to do? How are we going to compete with that? The plastic plates company. Why would we buy a plastic plates company? He wasn't prepared to go any further with me. It was becoming clear. And I was asking reasonable questions which were being refused to be answered. I asked him who he worked for, and I anticipated he would say, I work for Olympus, or I report to you, Michael. I'll never forget his words, which were chilling. And he looked at me, and his guard came down for the first time, really. His anger came out, his anger. And he looked at me right in the eye and said, I work for Kikukawa. I'm loyal to Mr. Kikukawa.
しょうがないファクタしか載っけるところがないっていうんだったらもうしょうがないから続報でを書くとしてもファクタで書くしかないなっていうふうに思ってたところに、第2の内部告発者が現れたんですね。でその方はメールでファクタ編集部に内部資料を送ってきてくれた方なんですけれども、アルティスっていうオリンパスが買収した国内3社のうちの1社の事業計画書だったんですけれども、そこに、株主構成が、きちんと書かれていて、でそこに海外のへんてこなファンドの名前が出てたと。でこれが怪しいと。
非常に広い意味で言うと金融詐欺師ですね。金融関係の詐欺師たちの世界にそういうファンドがね、関わっているということが分かったので、さらに要するにもっと多くオリンパスの要するに粉飾を手伝った人たち、つまりオリンパスの経理だけが単独であれをやったんじゃなくて、それに協力者がいると。
I was in New York. I was still drinking a lot because I wanted at night to try to sleep because it was like a torment. I don't know if you can imagine being the president of a large company with 45,000 employees, and I felt this sense of responsibility, but here were these strange things which I could not find answers for. It was around 3:30 New York time, and I looked out the window. The streets were quiet. I didn't even turn on the lights. I went to my laptop. I can remember the shimmering light, my eyes sticky and looking, and there was an email. And in that email there was a translation of the Factor article which had been published. And that article gave a lot more detail of alleged frauds and the term antisocial forces, which is a euphemism, as we know, for organized crime, racketeering, the Yakuza. And I was scared and troubled. New York was waking up, and Everything was normal in New York as it always is, you know, noise from the street, yellow cabs, steam coming out from the pavements. I was thinking what was going on at the monolith building in Shinjuku, you know, what was behind this? What are these people playing at? I came to the conclusion there and then that enough is enough. And I'm going to formalize my concerns and I'm going to write to the whole board. And I'm going to start asking the questions I want answers on the terms that I wanted answered. You know, who did we buy these companies for? How did we value these companies? What due diligence was done? Who assisted us? Who facilitated these transactions? But I didn't want anyone finding a way out. I wanted to be, you know, here's the question, please answer it. As the letters escalated, I made it clear, as I was unhappy, that I would resign if I didn't get answers. I would go public that I was resigning because of governance concerns. It started in the morning when I said, you know, I wanted to be CEO. It doesn't change my money or terms or anything. I wanted to have, I said to Kikukawa, this is a very complex, difficult situation. I need the authority to deal with it. And Kikukawa's response was, no, Michael, the Japanese shareholders wouldn't accept that. And I said, fine, I'll resign. He got angry, Kikukawa, and started to shout at me. You know, went back and told him that I wasn't one of his poodles. He has 2 toy poodles and has a screensaver with these poodles dressed up in their little outfits, which is common here, as you know, in Japan. It was understanding that really the way he saw me. He actually asked me in this meeting, did I hate him? Which I was surprised he asked that question. And I said, no, I didn't hate him. I could have been called anything. I could have been called God, and I couldn't have done anything because a board of directors, they would always be able to have a majority. And Kikukawa may have given away his CEO, but he would be still pulling all the strings. It was on the way back that night that I decided that I would bring in PricewaterhouseCoopers to evidence the fraud relating to the payment of the $700 million or the figure approaching that. It was pretty condemning and it raised a lot of questions. It was evident that this whole transaction needed to be questioned and investigated, and they were potentially illegal. Everything I did in both languages, and I sent by email and by DHL. And that was where I pleaded for them not to put the fact that I was a foreigner, a gaijin, before the facts. I begged them not to put their personal relationships before what was right for the company. It was a very moving day, as had been the case in the days after the 11th of March earthquake when I came back again. And it was somewhere where I got a perspective when I saw my colleagues clearing this paddy field to make it able to be used to grow rice again, and you see all these fragments of people's lives. And I said to my colleague, a man of the same age as me, with 2 children, and we knew each other quite well, very professional. And I said, I'm going to be fired tomorrow. And he just went quiet. I almost knew it was pointless, but I wanted, ideally, to have one last attempt, but I was never given that chance. I walk out of the boardroom and then my instincts are, I've got to get away from this country. You know, I don't know what's going on, who's involved, an amount of money approaching $2 billion, you know, bad things have happened to people for a lot less. So I went to the safe in my office and I had $1,000 or something like that in the end. I had a picture of my family and so a few personal things. I just wanted to get out with those things, but particularly the stamp. Karamata, in effect, acted as the chief financial officer, came in. But Karamata smiled at me. This was gratuitous. He was gloating. You know, he was enjoying this. First, you know, he asked for my computers. He knew I had 2 Sony Vaio computers, and he wanted them back. Now, those computers contained emails from senior executives of Olympus from around the world, some of which were very explicit in criticizing the senior management. They're the people who've been working and helping me. And I felt a huge responsibility to protect them. And I said, no, you can't have them. I know what you do, how you work. They've gone back to London securely. I will deliver the computers back to the British company when they've been forensically wiped. That made him angry. And he said, give me your phones, you have 2 phones. I had the iPhone, I moved again towards him. And I was feeling pumped up with anger and frustration, and my fist was clenched. I said, my wife is worried. You know, she's going to be worried. I need to phone her. And are you a policeman? Are you a policeman? Is he going to physically take it off me? And he backed off. I thought I need to go somewhere safe, so I went to Yoyogi Park, which is just a few minutes from my apartment. I again tried to remember that I needed to think carefully what I was doing. I felt at risk, I felt threatened. I wanted to see somebody quickly. I wanted to pass over the material I had again in case something happened to me.
I saw a wire service report that Michael had been fired. And I thought, that's strange, surprising. I thought I should give him a call. And then my phone rang, and it was Michael calling me. And he immediately said, no, this is serious. There's a lot more going on than what they said. Money has disappeared. Hundreds of millions of dollars has disappeared. You know, this is a big deal, and I want to meet you. So I convinced him instead to meet me at a nearby cafe that I knew would be quiet and wouldn't have many people. He thought people might be watching him or following him.
I got there first, and I was going into shock, you know, and I knew that if you have shock, you give people sweet drink, sugar. So I ordered an iced coffee, and I remember pouring in a huge amount of sugar and drinking it quickly.
You immediately could see that he had something to back this up. You know, this wasn't just a wild tale as soon as he put the binder there and started showing me.
And we spent 45 minutes, and I went through it. I said, you know, to me, he asked what I wanted. And I said, you know, I want the story on the front page, and I won't talk to any other media.
It seemed to me that he had done a pretty thorough job of researching and documenting the fact that money had left the company, and also how it had left the company through these phony or inflated acquisitions. But the trail kind of stopped at the end of that. It was still unclear who got the money. And that was the source of his fear. Did gangsters have it? Did his bosses steal it? That, at the time, was still a complete mystery.
And then we left, and I flagged down a taxi to Haneda. I knew by that time all the flights to Europe had left Narita. The first flight out was in 2 hours or so time to Hong Kong, which I knew I could connect to London. And I started queuing up for tickets for the Cathay Pacific flight. So everything seemed to, you know, I was paranoid by that point. And it wasn't until, you know, engines were, you know, roaring as we left the runway, and I tilted back in my seat, that I started to feel safe. Landed at Heathrow. I was so exhausted, but filled with adrenaline. My wife was there, and she saw me and put her arms around me. And You know, it felt very, very good to be with her. She had bought a copy of the Financial Times. There on the front page was the story. When I switched on my mobile, it beeped crazily, and the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, everyone was leaving messages wanting to speak with me. I was just totally consumed with a sort of sadness and a sense of unease of what the future was going to play out.
Now, 6 months ago, he became the company's first ever non-Japanese president. The board of the camera conglomerate Olympus was so impressed that just 2 weeks ago, they made him chief executive as well. Then quite suddenly, after Michael Woodford had uncovered alleged accounting irregularities among the company's finances, everything changed.
As CEO, one would think you'd be able to go directly to the people who coordinated the deal. What responses were you getting at the time?
Totally evasive. The question still hasn't been answered. For what? For what and to whom? And why would you pay to people you don't know who they are? You can't then establish if there's any related parties, which raises all the issues which are now circulating in Japan about corruption, and links to anti-social forces.
2 seconds here. Is Olympus at this point saying they may sue you?
Yes, I would be delighted for them to sue me in the High Court. There's a public interest story here. Let the facts come out. Let all the facts come out. I'd be delighted.
All right.
I'd be delighted if they did that.
Communication やカルチャーなどのさまざまな壁を打破できませんでした。組織の意思決定プロセスを無視した独断専合的な経営判断で物事が進んでしまい、迷いますね、当然。自分の直接の社長、いわゆるした森島のことを聞くべきなのか、グループ全体のほどの意見を聞くべきなのか、そういうこと混乱があったと。
日本のメディアはその時解任した側の菊川会長たちの説明ですよね。だから日本の新聞読んでてもこう全然何も伝わってこなかった。
Japanese companies have long been criticized for their cozy, insider corporate culture. Japanese themselves say that change is difficult without something called gaiatsu, which literally translates as pressure from foreigners.
It was 12 days in. I was in New York visiting the FBI with my wife. We arrived very late, went to bed, exhausted. After 3 hours, the phone started beeping. My wife looked and said to me, look, Kikukawa's resigned. Kikukawa resigning really was, the edifice was starting to crack. It was starting to crumble. It took 12 days to drive him down.
どういうご意図でその取締役の一人としてですね、その会食にご賛成されたのかということについて教えてください。
理由は先ほど申し上げました通り、独断専行な行動、それから私どもの私だけではございませんけれども、私の部下も含めてですね、極めて、強い恫喝、こういったものがですね随所にございました。
つまりこういう過去に問題があったということについては文書で取締役皆さんに指摘されていたというふうにご本人主張されていますけど、それは事実ですか？
一方的に送られてきました。我々 十分な検討する余裕が実は時間的になくてですね、それよりもやめろと言われてどうすんだということがありましたから、まずそちらを優先したということですね。
医療機器メーカージャイラスのですね買収の手数料が不当に高かったんじゃないかというウッドフォードさんのご主張についてですね、
優先株のですね処置がございますので、これ全部すべて手数料ということがございますので、ここは誤解ないようにぜひお願いしたいと思います。ウッドフォード氏はすべてこれは、報酬というふうにですね言っておるのはこれ間違いでございますので。
それではこれから会場の皆様よりご質問をお受けしたいと思います。国内3社の買収については第三者株主からの買収だけあってどこから買ったのかを全く説明されていません。
それを私どもは全く分かっておりません。全く分かっておりません。
今の答え全然よく分からなかったんですけども、どこから買ったかという質問になぜ答えてないんですか。
名前と振込先、それについてはよく当然分かっているわけですけれども、それ以上のことについては全く知る由もなかったということでございます。
でそういった問題提起をなされながら議論をしないで、そういった決定をしたことが、に対して、どういうご判断をされて、
こちらからの説明を本当に聞くという素振りもない状態で、それがどんどんエスカレートしていったと。
その議論をするにも、実はウッドフォード氏は日本に参っておりません。
いないんだとすると、なんで呼ぶとかですね、しなかったんです
か。発言をしないっていうか、それはここにいるべきだろうって、それは
今回の資金の流れが適正であったか、それについての説明を求めているんですが、どうも的外れのような気がしますが、いかがでしょうか。
私どもですね、誠意を持って、出せる情報はすべて今出しているつもりでございますので、決してそういうことはないというふうにご理解いただきたいと思います。
大変申し訳ございませんが、1時間という限られた時間ですので、まずお一人1問ずつということでお願いしたいと思います。どうぞ。
Japan had been attracting funds on some levels because people were seeing it as a kind of safe haven from the European crisis and and so forth, and now suddenly the integrity of Japanese companies, the integrity of the markets, the integrity of financial reporting was being questioned in a big way.
日本は戦後ね、企業のガバナンスの仕方についてですね、アメリカのものとかいろんなものを混ぜこぜにしてやったけど、本質的なところはさっき言ったみたいにですね、江戸時代の封建制のね、お殿様がいて、その下に家来がいっぱいいるという、赤穂浪士時代みたいなね、ああいう体制が全然消えてないんですよね。でそれは良い面があったことは確かだけど、こういうですね不信の時代にはですね、それじゃ要するに何も結論が開けない。
申し上げたことと異なる事実が、判明いたしましたので、ここにお詫びを申し上げるとともに報告を申し上げます。今回の一連の件につきましては、過去の損失計上を先送りしたことによるものと判明をいたしました。大変申し訳ございません。基本的に今認識しておりますのは、先ほどの3人の方が関与していた内容でございます。で、私は昨日の夕方まで全く知りませんでした。私はこのオリンパスを愛しています。 このような事態になってもこの事業の価値は全く毀損しておりません。
私はですね、父親がオリンパスにやはり40数年間勤めてまして、技術の総責任者だったんですけれども、でその父親の影響で早くからやっぱり海外の貿易に関わりたいっていう気持ちがありましてね。で知ってるということもあって、もうほとんど迷わずオリンパスしか受けなかったんですよ。で42年間ですから、父親と合わせると85年とか90年とか、とんでもない年月オリンパスと関わってきてるんですね。言葉に不自由しなかったもんで、ウッドフォードのファイナンシャルタイムズの一番最初のインタビューからもうオンラインで全部見てて、これはえらいことだと、本当に会社潰れるなと思ったんです。その時3人ぐらいよく知ってる部長さんクラスにですね、私が理解している、外国メディアが伝えているウッドフォードが言う真実、それを噛み砕いて解説したんですよ。そしたらやっぱ彼らもびっくりして、社内で言われてるのはそんなことじゃないと。なんかしないと社員は何にも知らされないまんま、自分で判断して動けないまんま、結局受動的に会社の最後まで共倒れになる、そういう危機感があったんですね。
私の親友であるマイケル・ウッドフォード氏、ちょっと非常に困った局面におるということで、友達として助けようと思っただけなんですよ。私実質的な役割を果たすようになったのは、解任された直後に、解任したことは重大な誤りであって、いち早くマイクロを取り戻してもらいましょうというそういう気持ちで元専務の宮田浩二さんと話し合ってて。これは日本の会社で現役の部長がそんなことをしてまでは本当に相当勇気いるんですよね。私感激してました。本当に5、6名も実名で名乗ってくるんですか。大丈夫です、絶対。
ところがですね、もうあっという間に潰しにかかられて、それでやっぱりその部長さんたちも自分の生活がかかってますから、最初はやはりそうすべきだっていう僕の考えに賛同してくれたんですけども、途中でやっぱりそれ以上無理だと。
要は相次いで去っていくんですよ。で結局その元の部長一人だけしか残らなかったんです。で彼はいや私一人でちょっとご勘弁と。
で初めはやっぱり我々がターゲットしてたのはオリンパスの従業員ですから、従業員へ呼びかけたんです。サイトにですね、全く想定してなかったアクセスがダーッと来たんですね。
すっごい殺到してきて、全世界から。でもメールを見てみたら滝みたいに流れてるんでしょう。どんどんメールが入ってきたりして。
たメールの数はちょっと正確じゃないんですけど、おそらく2000通ぐらい来ました。でそのうちの大部分は賛成票です。従業員からも非常にもうリタイアした OB がなんでしゃしゃり出てこんなことやるんだと、我々は迷惑してるっていうようなね、そういうネガティブなやつを取り上げて、それでサイトで私がそれに対して返事を書くと。
見てらっしゃる方からもこれちょっと同じようなことになって恐縮なんですが、あえてお聞きします。メールで質問来てるんですけども、宮田さんが一番救いたいのは社員かオリンパスか医療事業かウッドフォードかどれですかと。
会社です。
会社。
はい。僕はウッドフォードを救おうなんて全然思ってなくて、ウッドフォードはこれでさよならっていうのが彼にとっておそらく一番ハッピーじゃないですかね。
彼にとってみればね。はいはいはい。
だけど
茨の道が待ってるわけですからね、これから。
戻ってもらいたいと。救いたいのは会社です。
会社。
Japan was now awake to the story. And when I landed at Narita, there must have been 20 camera crews and 70 journalists. So I suddenly become a rock star, you know. I'm prepared to go back. If the Japanese shareholders don't want me because I've been someone who's not been harmonious, because I've shaken the tree and caused waves. But the truth of what I was saying has come out. That would be a very sad statement to the world that Japan hasn't changed. Welcome. Welcome home. I wanted to come back because I wanted to challenge Kikukawa. I wanted to look him in the eye as a human being. I wanted to know what I felt and what harm he was doing. A fascinating situation to observe that the fired Gaijin ex-president, still a director, going back to face the board who had ejected him. It was strange going back because I saw people I knew and many of them smiled at me. In a way, the meeting was a lot less tense than it would have been because Kikukawa, Mori, and Yamada weren't there. The board are all contaminated. Absolutely. They've made these decisions and then they have this huge file, PwC report, and they still don't act. All of them have to go. All of them have to go.
それでは、当委員会委員長の貝中弁護士よりご説明を申し上げます。よろしくお願いいたします。
これから調査の経過と、それから判明した事項、それから私どもが本件の一連の不祥事の原因と考えられる事項と、これに対する提言を申し上げます。
Good evening. It is a day that will be in bold print in history books. Black Monday, October 19th, 1987, when the stock market went into a free fall, losing more in one day than it did on Black Tuesday in 1929.
お願いします。私らが悪いんです。詐欺は悪くございません。
The walls came tumbling down on Wall Street Monday as two financial giants, Merrill Lynch and Lehman Brothers, buckled under the real estate and credit crises.
But we've overcome tough challenges before, and we will overcome this one. Democratic capitalism is the best system ever devised.
オリンパスはこの際旧経営陣を中心とする病巣を撤血して文字通り人心を一新して再生を目指すべきだと考えます。私からは以上です。いやいやもう法律的にはどういう点で疑問になるんですか。
やはり従業員が大部分がマイケルを信じてマイケルが戻ってくれるんだったら会社はうまくいくんじゃないかと 自利品でなんかこう変わるべきだったのに変えられなかったっていうようなそんな会社じゃなくて、思い切って自分たちの大戦艦を図ろうと決断できた会社として日本の歴史に残る、そういうチャンスがあるってことはみんな感じてたんですよね。それでニコニコ生放送を考えたんですよ。
ここで今夜のニコニコ生放送では、昨日再来日したオリンパス元社長のマイケル・ウッドフォード氏にご出演いただき、前半はインパス専務宮田さんのもとには
オリンパスの従業員がマイケル少なくとも自分たちが聞きたい点をマイケルが自分の言葉で答える、それを現場で見れる唯一の手段だったんですね。それでワクさんと話をして出そうと。
So I had agreed with those two shareholders that I would be prepared to meet with Mr. Takayama, that I would be prepared to do that. Work together. Avoid a proxy fight. That's only damaging, that's only harmful, that's only wasteful. Show some dignity. Do the right thing for this company. So if he wants to meet, to try to solve this in a constructive and non-combative way, then I'm more than willing. I hold my hand out. Of course he has to leave because of what he failed to do. It would be a positive way. So I still remain hopeful that he will do this. However, if he doesn't, then I will fight for this company. Then it will be the time to fight. I hope we can avoid it, but if necessary, I'm prepared.
もうそろそろお時間になってしまうんですけれども、ここで一つユーザーの皆さんにアンケートを取りたいと思います。こちらです。あなたは今夜のウッドフォード氏の話に納得できましたか？ 1 納得した、2納得できない、3どちらでもない。さあ皆さんはどのようにお感じになりましたでしょうか？今夜のウッドフォード氏のお話に納得できましたでしょうか？1時間以上にわたってウッドフォード氏にお話を伺いましたが、さあ皆さんはどのようにお感じになりましたでしょうか？はい、結果が出ました。お話に納得したという方が 75.2% と非常に多いですね。納得できないという方も 9.1%、 どちらでもないという方が 15.7% いらっしゃいます。この数字ご覧ください。
前回の報告書に、現取締役は全員早期に退任すると書かれてますよね。
経営をきちっとしていくためには責任のない方まで辞めるということはございません。
各社我々も含めてメディアはですね、総退陣というふうに報道しましたが、これは間違いであるというふうなことでよろしいでしょうか？
すべて、総退陣をするんだというふうにですね、申し上げたつもりではございません。ただし責任は明確にすると。
ウッドフォード氏と会うことは拒んでいらっしゃる。これからの方向性について何か決定的な違いがおありなのか。
残念ながらウッドフォード氏はですね、プロキシファイトをやるとかですね、例えば別なところとですね、いろいろ話をしてこうだとか、いろいろおっしゃってましてですね、じゃあそういう状況の中でじゃあ一緒にやれるのかというとなかなか疑問なんでございます。
はい。So Mr. Takayama, you won't speak to me. But if you're a leader, then stand up like a man and go on the program yourself and ask and answer, not with grayness and no comment. You answer to the employees and let the employees vote after your hour and a half. So, Mr. Takayama, you go on Nico now. I've done it. You do it.
オリンパスは有利子負債、要するに借金が多いんですよね。かなり借金だらけの企業で、貸してるメインバンクをはじめとして銀行の借金を引き上げられたらそれ一発でおしまい、なので銀行の意向が非常に経営の判断という重要なんですよね。
I asked at a public televised meeting to meet with Kanubi, the president of SMBC. He wouldn't even speak to me. So Japan works as a club. Corporate Japan works as a club, but it's perverted and it's distorted and it's destroying this country.
I don't think he had a good sense of some of these bankers when he met them while he was president. He would always meet them in the company of Kikukawa, and the bankers would address themselves to Kikukawa. And I think in those meetings, it was really brought home to Michael just how marginalized he was in terms of the Japanese business world. Nobody really saw him as being in charge.
銀行がウッドフォードに一度も会おうとしない。つまり要するに拒否したんです。したがって要するにウッドフォードさんそこで彼のね、目論見というかその思いというのは断たれたんですよ。
I was in a small island called La Gomera in the Canaries. It was New Year's Eve. Nanthi was again continuing her point that the Japanese shareholders are not supporting you. You can't win without the Japanese shareholders. Stop, you know.
日本の機関投資家、つまり大株主の1社か2社が責任を持って行動を起こしてくれる可能性があると誤解していました。
日本でよくある例なんですよ。みんな賛成するんだけど行動は違うんですね。で結局和を乱す、それが悪であった。空気を読んでそういうあれっていうのは僕はやっぱりものすごい大きな挫折感として味わいましたね。
プロキシーファイトに勝ち目がないと見てここで手を引くのは賢明だと思います。ファクターが創刊以来戦っているこの日本の見えざる障壁は失われた20年の元凶だけにそうやすやすと壊れません。この無念はいずれ当方で晴らします。腐ったオリンパスは君に似合わない。こういう感じです。
クビになってしまったウッドフォード元社長が日本人ってどうしてこんな風に侍と愚か者とが極端に2つに分かれてしまうんだろうっていうふうなことを僕が直接問われたことがあって。
The samurai were the Japanese colleagues I were working with who continued to support me and would have literally died for me. You know, they cared so much for the company. And then these weak, spineless, cowardly, malicious, vindictive. And then this was cloaked in a guise of, you know, we didn't know what was going on.
人間をそんな風に真っ二つに分けて考えることってできるのかな。そんな極端に二つに分けて考えることなんてできるわけないだろうっていう風に内心思ったんですよ。もう壮大な仕掛けの中で走り始めてしまった暴走列車に当時の菊川常務は放り上げられてしまったようなものだったろうと思うんですね。その時点で、彼にできたのはこのまま損失を隠すか隠さないか、イエスかノーか、白か黒か、侍か愚か者か、極端な究極の選択しか許されなかったと思うんですよ。
Three former executives of the disgraced Japanese Olympus Corporation have been arrested at their homes by prosecutors over their role in the disgraced Olympus company's $1.7 billion accounting fraud.
That's the man I'd really like to talk to the most in this whole case is Kikukawa, because I think his mindset, his reactions, and what he really thinks, if you could pull that out of him, that would tell you a lot about Japan.
吉川さんがどういうその気持ちだったかってことについては本当に推し量ることも無理ですね。そういう当事者になってみないとわからないいろいろな事情があったと思うんですよ。で僕はね基本的にあの人好きだったんです。非常に。
The most important thing for him was himself. I saw him in meeting after meeting. He cared for himself. He was a vain, deluded egotist, and he damaged the company. He wanted to be the important emperor. He wanted people bowing to him. He was ugly, ugly, ugly.
決して独裁者じゃないです。それからもう非常に頭のいい人なんですよ。知能指数が非常に高い人です。それでなんていうんですかね、先ほど言いましたようにいろいろなタイプのねリーダーシップってのあるんですけど、彼のリーダーシップは明るいですよ。でエネルギーが前向きです。
If he truly thought he was doing it for the sake of the company, then the one thing it shows about Japan is that responsibility is diffuse to the point of being meaningless in many cases. You know, this package of secrets and mistakes and misjudgments gets passed from person to person. No one really opens it. They just hold it for a while, and they can claim that they have no ownership of it, no responsibility. They're doing it for everyone, for the people who came before them.
It's not really my story. It's a story about modern corporate day Japan. And much broader than that, it's about Japanese society. Companies and the way corporations work is just part of the overall society.
まあまさにね、愚かな者たちの船っていうのがオリンパスで、そういろんな意味でね、愚かであったと。もっと言えばそれは日本全体の武者の船じゃないですかと。自分たちの既得権を守るために船を沈めてる。
テーブルを倒したら物を拾って片付けるんですよね。その程度のもんですよね、株主訴訟とか。
逮捕も含め。
もうそれはそうです。別にそこまで実刑になるかどうかは分からないし、ならないんじゃないかなと私はお金までかけてるんです。
でも世の中を何も変えることができなかった。社外取締役の設置を義務付けることすらできなかった。でオリンパスのような大きな過ちを犯してしまった会社を上場廃止にすることすらできなかった。ということから考えると、僕がなんていうのか世の中を動かした部分ってほとんど何もなかったんじゃないのかなっていう、そういう気がするんですよね。でそれは僕がちょっとおセンチになっているだけなのかもしれないけれども、
結局もう忘れたいと。自分のその思いは結果としてはやっぱり届かなかったんで、オリンパスとの関係っていうのはその自分の人生でものすごく大きなあれですから、まあ端的に言えばその失った友人っていうのは何人ぐらいいて、何人ぐらいが残るのかなと。今年の年賀状はまあそういうねあれになると思いますけれども、やっぱりもうこれ以上その会社が再生しようとする努力を妨げたくないと、その気持ちはものすごい強かったです。だから一切の取材をそこ以降は一回も受けてません。ですからまあ忘れたいというか、結局もうそこでけじめをつけると、で終わりにするという、それしかなかったですね。